From the depths of rot and decay they rise. The death guard marches under sickened skies. With boils and blight they spread the pain. In Nurgle's name disease will reign. Rot and ruin, pestilence flows. With every breath the plague wind blows. Embrace the rot, let flesh decay. The death guard comes, none can stay. From the depths of rot and decay they rise. The death guard marches under sickened skies. With boils and blight they spread the pain. In Nurgle's name disease will reign. Rot and ruin, pestilence flows. With every breath the plague wind blows. Embrace the rot, let flesh decay. The death guard comes, none can stay. Armored and filled with rusted blades, they laugh as cities wilt and fade. Where they tread, no life remains. Just hollow corpses, plague remains. Beneath the helm, the cursed grin, for in death they shall begin. Rot and ruin, pestilence flows. With every breath the plague wind blows. Embrace the rot, let flesh decay. The death guard comes, none can stay. Beneath the warp the souls are bound, to spread decay, to break the ground. Nurgle's gifts a putrid stain, a future where only disease remains. Rot and ruin, pestilence flows. With every breath the plague wind blows. Embrace the rot, let flesh decay. The death guard comes, none can stay. The rot spreads, there's no escape. The death guard seals your fate.
Triple guest chat room. There we go. Oh, buggery doodads! I didn't put the cameras on. Everyone, this is fun. Yeah, it's a Nurgle in the system. Ta-da! Yay. There we are. I got it working. Who wants to go on, Mr. Dave? You take this one away to make sure your microphone's working properly.
Yeah, I think we've had lots of fun with our technical. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Disgusting Resilient podcast. Hope everyone is doing really well out there. I'm obviously joined by Will and Aidan again tonight, so you have the full trilobe here for your evening entertainment. How are you both doing? You well?
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
Yeah, doing real good.
Just returned from a beer garden with the missus, so I'm cracking up another one now just to keep myself
topped up.
keep myself lubricated. Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm pretty good as well. I've got I'm actually going to go and play Warhammer on Thursday. I'm coming down. Josh said to give me a lift, Mr. Will, so I'll be down at Element Games to play on your Thursday night. I'm going to start going to Element, hopefully.
Yeah, I've lined someone up for you as well, mate, because I thought there's no point you come, because you go in the mixer like this. Like when you come down, we always ask people what kind of game you're after, because some people just want to they don't want a competitive game. They want to play some with a beautifully painted army and when
you say my army's not beautifully painted, Mr. Will.
Your army is beautifully paid, but they don't want to play like competitive games. You know what I mean? So, but Alex, he went undefeated at Bristol. Is going to give you a game with his nids.
Oh,
So
cool.
should be
Yeah.
an
That should be
interesting one.
awesome. That'd be cool.
He's
yeah.
the guy who beat Vic VJ in round 1.
Oh, dude, I need to hear that story. So that would be a good thing to chat about.
You can hear it off the man himself. Yeah, he really did. He really did pull one out the bag there. So yeah. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday in the flesh. What else? What have you been up to, Dave? Have you been crusading it, or have you've been sharing some games in chat? Looks like you've been crushing it, shall we say?
Yeah, no, crusade is done. I'm in the nice way.
Dave, you've gone really quiet, and I don't know why.
Yeah, is that better?
That's better. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, sorry, my little my amp volume was down for there. Yeah, no, all good here. Yeah, so crusade is in a nice way, thankfully done. Because the annoying thing is, the last 2 rounds of it happened pretty much week after week, before, just on and after the Codex came out. So it actually delayed me getting into games at club, which was really annoying. But it was really worthwhile. Yeah, I've been, as you know, have been sticking to Death Lord's Chosen, and yeah, it's been going pretty good. I think I've now crunched Space Wolves, Tau, Krons. 2 other armies as well. I can't remember which one they are, but they've all been wins in the 90s with more than double my opponent's score, pretty much. And it's been the kind of way I've been talking about it in the Discord. Is I've basically been staging really nicely, and then basically giving my opponent a chance to go, well, if you want to try and Overwatch something, you can, but I've got redundancy to get more than one thing into Contagion. The spawn have been great because they move so fast, and 2 of them actually spread out really nicely to put a load of other things into Contagion, and then basically just dropping the Death Hammer of 6 Death Shroud, 3 Death Shroud, 3 Death Shroud, and then knowing full well that even if I have to use the 6, this is the nice thing about the uppy downy is, so my last game against Krons, I had the Silent King and a Monolith. And I wasn't really that worried about screening my backfield too much and him spending on Cosmic Precision. I'm like, if you put it in there, then I'm just going to drop the 6 on you, kill whatever's there, and then I'm going to pick the 6 up again, and they can go wherever they want. And that's exactly what happened. He dropped his Monolith, had to shuffle it a bit, but put it in there. It didn't manage to kill anything, and Morty just tanked everything, and then he killed a Blade Drone. But I was like, okay, fine. And then I just moved a few things closer to it, and then dropped 6 Dash Shroud on it, chucked grenades at it, did mortal wounds from a few other places, charged it, killed the Silent King with Mortarion and 3 Death Shroud and the Lord of Contagion, and then just picked up the 6 and then went, okay, well, whatever you do next with whatever you've got left, I'm going to then drop the 6-man Death Shroud on it again. So
wow, you're very lucky with that Monolith kill. I think I don't think mathematically that should die in that. Silent King, I don't think mathematically dies in that situation on average dice. I mean,
yeah, it took mortal wounds from being in Contagion range in his so it took shooting from a Mephitic Blight Hauler and a Blight Drone and grenades, and it took 6 wounds from Flamers because I rolled incredibly hot on the Death Shroud. Then it took grenades, mortal wounds strat, and then the LOV, so the LOC plus 6 Death Shroud minced it.
So you whittled it down basically. I was going to say, I don't think
I took it to 14. I took it to 14.
Most instances, I mean.
I took it to 14, and the Death Shroud, even without the Lord of Contagions roll, did 14 wounds to it, like damage to it.
I just want to point out the utter irony of a Hypocrite player losing to Uppy Downy Death Shroud. It's fucking beautiful.
This is what we're talking about, was the fact that I was reactive moving with Mortarion. Like, he was like, I'm going to go here. I'm like, if you go there, I'm reactive moving that. And he's like, okay, well, I'll go here. And I'm like, if you go there, I'm reactive moving that. He's like, I'm going to go there. I went, I'll just reactive move Mortarion then towards you. And then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to drop this in here. And I went, fine, I'm going to drop 6 Death Shroud on it afterwards. It was like, and we were laughing about the fact that hyper-mobile armies now have to worry about reactive moving and deep striking 6-inch Death Shroud and reactive moving anything else on the board that's near Mortarion. So it's all about kind of staging, but I feel like I'm getting really good at using Mortarion plus units on the middle to then how I'm reactive moving around and then staging for the big kind of nukes from orbit. And once you make that nuke drop and it gets in, your opponent's army is generally crippled, and there isn't enough stuff to hurt any of your big stuff after that. And then you just have got a load of Death Shroud in their face, and you're like, cool, we'll just whittle that down and try and kill it if you want. But in the meantime, I've got Blight Haulers, drones, spawn that are scoring me points.
Nice.
That's pretty good. Yeah, makes good sense.
And it's worked so far. I'm not saying it's infallible, and I'm not saying it's going to do brilliantly. Like as it gets into the senior rounds at tournaments, but like it definitely is not the most competitive detachment, and I think we all probably agree on that. But I tell you what though, like so far it hasn't minced its words in games. So we'll see if that continues.
Are there any rerolls in that detachment? I haven't even looked
full
at
rerolls to hit, but only against infantry, not against monsters or vehicles.
Right, okay. So I was going to say, like, I suppose it's good against
yeah,
it's good against wraiths and things, though, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
Just go fishing for the.
But it's just the mortal wound output as well. Like you just move Mortarion into range of people, and they're taking D3 on 2-ups because they're afflicted. You've got grenades, you've got tank shock, you've got stank shock, you've got typhus. I mean, typhus did 11 mortal wounds on his own in a couple of goes, and then obviously they're taking mortal wounds in their command phase. So that actually stacks, and that's what I'm saying. So all that together stacks up. I mean, I think over that game, and I think I was nowhere near optimizing the amount I can output. I think that in that game I did 25 mortal wounds in the last one. I did 30 odd against the Tau in total, on top of all the other damage.
That's pretty good, isn't it? So it's basically, yeah. So just remind me how the army rule works again, and just for the people sort of listening at home as well who might also not be familiar with it. What's the detachment rule for that one?
So basically, when you have got an opponent's model that's in contagion range, so it becomes afflicted. If it's afflicted in their command phase, then you roll 2 dice, and on a 6 down, when it's at full
6
strength,
down.
but they basically take D3 mortal wounds, and if they're below half strength, on a 7 down, they take mortal wounds. It's about 41 to a 58% chance for those 2 rolls of getting mortal wounds off on them.
Okay.
MSU armies really hate
that. And then Spawn are doing it as well. So like in one activation, he killed one of my Spawn, did a couple of wounds to another with 10 warriors, and the mortal wound bounce back just killed a load of the warriors. And then Mortarion moved close in at the end of my movement phase, and the mortal wounds killed another 3. And it was just so the attritional build up after the big models have gone is pretty nasty. So anyway, this isn't a chat about that entire thing. But
it's interesting. I mean,
I'm finding a lot of. I'm finding it works. It's working really, really well. So I think what I'll actually do is, because now I've got 4 or 5 tactics down with it, from deployment to utilizing poxwalkers to what I'm calling the fishing lure on the middle, to kind of to the staging. I think that I could probably put a little 20-minute video together on it.
Dave's Lord chosen.
That sounds good. I mean, I haven't even run Mortarion yet, to be honest. So
I haven't either.
I'll be also be honest. I haven't thought about running him either. Like, there's no list that I'm writing where I look at it and I think, more time would fill in here. Although, I mean, I don't know. The list I was running I have been trying to find. Sorry, got a sore ear this week. Been trying to find like what defilers could be replaced with. But I think sort of moving past it, I am starting to look at 3 PBC lists. Haven't seen the success of them, and listened to the stat check video with the Canadian Violence, I think is a name on their Discord. I thought it was quite funny. But yeah, like it's interesting to see the 3 PBC lists sort of popping up, and I did try one. It didn't go incredibly well, but then I sort of like made a lot of misplays, and I don't know, like without sort of like going too depth, and because we'll pull it back to the episode's topic. Because Nathan Roberts, of course, did really well at Bristol. I look at that list and I think I can see how it's strong, but I also think it'd be so boring to play. It's basically like Death Guard become Tau. So for me, that isn't something I wouldn't want to copy his, I don't think, model for model, because as much as I think it's really strong, I just think it's very much a specific play style. But I think that build in there's really interesting stuff with the Hellbrutes and things that people have been sort of like listening to that video on StatCheck. The Hellbrutes make a lot more sense when I sort of listen to that, but I also think they're sort of very terrain format dependent. For example, I don't think at UKTC they're going to have a lot of value. For example, I think it's one in the list, but because it has to move through a wall, like in that video, the lady interviews, she's very much, they're amazing, they're so quick, and it's like, they're not. Like they're only quick if you can move through a wall, or if you're on GW format where you've got bases where there's no terrain to go through. Like on most UK formats, they are slow as shit. Like they are they are slower than Death Shroud. Like, one can be quick because you can move through a wall, but if you've got more than one to activate in the same turn, it's going to be like highly unlikely. But admittedly, they are basically reverse Carnivore because they hit on 3s and then wound everything on 2s. So I was like, yeah, when I realised how that datasheet rule works, I was like, okay, so you hit with the double combat one. So it's quite interesting. Like, it's nice that we're kind of getting the point where some innovative stuff's coming out. Although the Virulent Vectorum list does seem quite solved. Like, I'm seeing a lot of like the tournament list.
I think that's been cracked.
It's like 10 Marines, 2x3 Death Shroud with a lot of contagion, and then it's like here's 3 heavy blow drones, 2 haulers, and like 2 normal drones. Like, shit. Oh, Demon Prince, ship it.
The last bit is which enhancement do you want? Maybe.
Oh yeah, do you want Demon Prince or do you want to spice out and get Furnace of Plagues? Pal, that ship it.
Or you can make the 2. You have a 6 Death Shroud. That's the one, like the one that you talked about in your video here. Now I've seen that one still popping up here and there.
Yeah,
I still think it makes sense with the -1. But yeah, I think that detachment's kind of down to like it's this, and you've got 300 points you can kind of play with. But this is your core, and it's kind of locked in now. Whereas Champions of Contagion seems to be getting to that point, but it doesn't seem to. There still seems to be a little bit more variation than there is in Virulent Vectorum. And then more Tyrant's Hammer's pretty much locked in if you're taking the 3 PBC build, it seems. It just seems like that last sort of like 300-400. It seems like it's 3 Mephitic Blight Haulers, 3 Heavy Blow Drones, obviously the Lord of Virulence with the enhancement, 3 Plague Burst Callers, and then you remain in like, at least 2 squads of Poxwort, and you remain in like 300 points. It's like, what Demon Engines or Death Shroud do you want to use this on?
Well, this. I think you're going to see the new variation, the new flavour of that soon, which is I know Don and I are now dipping in and out of the Mortarian's Hammer sub channel on our bit for the Despoiler build.
Yeah, so we'll come round to this. I want to have a quick check in with the chat first.
See a little theme over here.
Yeah, a little theme there. So hopefully everyone in the chat is doing well. Thank you very much, Crypto B, for becoming a Plague Marine. Oh, again, yeah, like and subscribe, hit the buttons. All that usual spiel.
There you go.
If you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. Plague Marine, you get access to our Discord. You get access to, on the higher tiers, you get access to Plague Surgery list reviews, where we literally have a stream to review your lists. And we've also got a painting competition going on at the moment as well. And we'll also be having a giveaway coming up soon for the Dan Abnett thing. So hang fire for that one, don't you? Hello, Death Guard Cat. How you doing?
Yeah.
Acrobatic. So consider that. But we've also got some super chats here. So we've got Cass Kelly Burke with the $7 super chat saying, "Hey, old fellas, how you doing, Cass? How are things going?
Hey.
Have you got any more events coming up, Mr. Cass, that you're going to go on 5-0 with your Virulent Vectorum?" And then we've got Dan Rempel also coming with a $7.77 Canadian super chat. New Chaos Knight Discord channel incoming. # disgustingly abominant. Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna get to the Chaos Knights, the A bomb. I actually was like, ooh. So yeah, so in the chat, question asked, have you had any practice games with the Taliban yet? So I actually haven't had any games since the Teams event, just because work, videos, streams, and then like coaching for Vanguard Tactics, and I'm doing like a weekly live lesson for them as well. It's been a bit hectic, so like that's why I'm very much looking forward to this Thursday, so I can go and play it. I don't know if I'm taking Taliban, because here's the thing: Taliban I am working on. I'm painting it. My great uncle one is nice and getting his green base coat. So he's very bright and very green, but I don't think I'm going to get it all painted up for Leeds in time. So, and because I want to paint it when I play it. So instead, I've decided.
Get you a painted great unclean one.
I know, but I want to take my own army. So for Leeds, I'm actually going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to start licking windows, and I'm going to bring Mortarian's Hammer instead, and just be like, let's tick this off the tick box, because I'm pretty convinced I can get a forum on with that, and then I can tick it off and not have to worry about it again. And then I'm going to bring the Taliban to hopefully your events at Element. In the July, that's hopefully the plan there. So we bring that there, and then we can bring the big one to Leeds, because I just don't think I'm going to get it painted up in time. So I am excited to play it though. I really am excited to play it, and I am very much wanting to get him done. But I want to make sure that they're very nice and pretty and ready for then. Whereas the Mortarian's Hammer list I have fully painted already. Like everything's done. Triple Playboy Scroll, triple hauler, triple jump, sweep, shove it in, done. Jobs are good, and so. Yeah, we'll come back round to that one. Thank you very much, Mr. Microwave, for coming to Plague Marine. Thank you for the support, mate. And Mr. Versal as well for coming a Blight Lord. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it.
Wow, guys. Good going.
Wait, Mikey Way? We got a Mike Way and a Mikey Way. Is it?
That's going to get really.
Is it not like a play on Milky Way?
No, because he's already in the Discord as Mike Way, but now someone's subscribed called Mikey Way. So. I'm going to call him Michael Bay. So thank you, Michael Bay. Jesus Christ, Dave! With 10 gifted memberships there, you cheeky
Well, it's
bugger.
been a while since I've dropped some in, and we've got 115 people watching, so 116. So,
well, thank you.
Say
thank you,
Dave. A lot of people are joining. So, yeah, if you get a membership, please make sure you get into the Discord and check it out.
Yes, so go to our channel. You'll see a button that says "See Perks." If you remember, click that button, and you'll see the link to get yourself in our Discord. Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it. So. Let's quickly talk about Death Guard in the meta. We have seen a slight drop in win rate this week. We've gone from 56 down to 53, which is probably about right to say. Like, as the meta sort of adapts, a lot of people have been seeing more infiltrators, and we've also seen some new armies come into the game. Space Wolves and Thousand Suns are sort of coming in now. Yep. I don't think Space Wolves are still legal.
Aren't in,
yeah, because they're still only in their limited box, aren't they? But Thousand Suns are definitely legal because. Your mate smashed one of them. Sorry, Big. So, more armies are coming out, and we've seen the power level be quite varied on them. Obviously, we'll talk about Chaos Knights soon, where they fit into this. But it has seemed like it's come down a little bit, but there are still some detachments that really have higher win rates. I don't think it's any surprise right now that Death Guard is probably too good. I do agree, though, that the sentiment is not... This is not Sisters of Battle, where all of the rules are just overtuned. I just think we just get too much stuff. I just think you cut a few points off us, we fall back down into sort of like being like more like 52%, then to 51, and then to that Goldilocks zone. I don't think we need to absolutely annihilate with a hammer. I just think it's just take a couple of units, take 1 or 2 units, and then really the problem, in my opinion, is the cheap engines. I actually don't think the Death Shot are that big of a problem anymore. I think the big problem is the 90-point engines. I just think they're just too efficient for what they are and for what they do for us. But again, I'm sure it'll get fixed in time. For now, just enjoy it while you can. Don't feel bad if someone's going to try and make you feel bad because we went through the shit. So we get to enjoy it now.
But it's 53% right this week.
Yes, it has dropped. Yes.
So Space Wolves land. More T-Suns get on the table again. Like I can see this dropping back to 50 relatively soon. And if it does, with how it is, and the meta is how it is, then there isn't a need to change it.
I don't see it drop to 50. I think that's rose tinted glasses stuff. I think it's going to go up again.
You think so? When Space Wolves are in, Ultramarines are cheap, Blood Angels are super cheap, Empress Children players
you got to remember this weekend though. They didn't play with the slate, so all the armies around us have come down and we've stayed there. I think our it's going to go up quite dramatically because we now are head and shoulders above everyone, whereas before we were maybe ahead above everyone. Now the shoulders are there as well. And this next week, when everyone's got the nerfs coming in, I think we're going to actually become a little bit problematic.
Blood Angels come up, but we don't really struggle against Blood Angels, so that's not really going to affect us too badly. What
Necrons,
else?
Maybe
the Necrons could be miserable, but I think everyone hates Necrons when Wraiths are good, so that's fine. Everyone's just going to be miserable at that one.
Thousand Suns, obviously.
T-Suns could be a problem, but again, they're still being solved a bit as well. I think the goat meta could become a problem, but I'm hoping the Hobby Lag keeps the goats out of the meta for a little bit. Not everyone has 120 goats, 18 bow goats, and 3 Mutilate Vortex beasts, but we'll see. Obviously, Chaos Knights are about to hit the meta as well. I don't
think Chaos Knights are going to do anything.
I don't know. We'll talk about that because that's going to be
good segue.
That's going to be a good segue. Yeah. So let's just quickly, just a quick recap sort of like the event. I do agree with you, Will, that Death Guard is probably strong. I think the win rate probably won't go much down from here.
I think it's going to go up because of the slate. Because when the slate kicks in, I think we're gonna sort of really shine. But there are things in the slate that got buffs that, like I say, this Ultramarines thing, I'm really not sold. Ultramarines got a buff.
I don't understand it either. I really don't.
I had an argument. We had a backwards and forwards someone in the Stormhammer team chat who thought this 10 CP loss is going to be like kill them, and I was like, mate, they've still got 20 CP, and they've got 100 extra points to spend on another unit. It's like, I think Ultramarines went up. It's a side grade at best. I think, as we talked about last week, it might be a buff. I really do not agree at all with Art of War's decision on this, but let's see. Let's see how it all unfolds.
So speaking of that, Strong Boy just donated $2 and he hasn't reminded me. But Tyranid point buffs are meaningful for stat checks. True, and also that new detachment for Tyranids could actually make a splash. It seems to be pretty good, that detachment. So the one thing I think might keep that not being as impressive is I don't think it's the easiest to play. I think you can, like, because where you bring up your tunnels is basically set in stone once you brought them up. So I think you misposition that. We also, in regards to UK, we're about to get a new set of UKTC maps. Apparently, they're changing quite drastically. Is the announcement from UKTC? So we don't know what they look like yet. They're supposed to be up before next. Is it next Monday? They said.
He said before Monday. So I'm hoping it lands Friday, because then I'll get to play it on Friday night with the new cards and then see what it looks like. But yeah, I mean, Saturday, Sunday it could be. What I would say just quickly on the Tyrannus thing is, I was watching StatCheck, and Innes was talking about that basically you can. He's like, and obviously, like you said, it's not easy to play, but he's like, you get 2 more locks, you get them out into field, you create your tunnels, you then spend a strat, you pick them up, you bring them out the tunnels, they can then charge and then bring other things out. You can then drop units within a certain distance of them. He's like, and then you've basically got you're within an inch of your opponent's deployment line with a whole load of monsters. Like in sequencing, it was like sounded absolutely horrible.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, we need to see that one, don't we? I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't had any sort of like experience with it, I guess. But I've seen people get hyped for it and say that they think it's pretty strong. But I guess it's going to sort of see the thing that I am just linking back to, because obviously it was an Art of War tier list. I am surprised that the Emperor's Children.
They got them still in S, haven't they? So, yeah, so people who don't know, the Art of War did do a tier list. I can see if I can get it up for the stream. Give me a second. Triple guest main screen.
Yeah, I thought Ultramarines and Emperor's Children maybe needed to be flipped, but I also admittedly don't know enough about Emperor's Children to sort of like definitively say that. Because admittedly, when they sort of broke it down, if you do a Cacophonist and a couple of enhancements, does it actually change anything? That's kind of, I suppose I haven't really thought of it that way. But yeah, I am curious on that one.
I've had quite a few people talk about it that way, saying that actually what you still get is mostly all the good stuff.
The Cacophony seems like a nice benefit, but it doesn't seem like it's needed. Also, this might be controversial, it's a god-awful model. Like, I have someone in real life and I was like, oh, it's horrible. Like, it's... Yeah, like, the more I look at Emperor's Children, the more I'm like, maybe I should just sell these boxes above me. Like, I really don't like them. Like, they just don't... There's a few of them that are amazingly beautiful, and there's a few of them just look derpy. Like, I hate beaky helmets as well. I'm a real anti-beak.
Anti-beak.
Yeah. I don't like the beak helmets.
Just wanted to call out as well, Derp, thank you for the $1.99 Pukey face, and we have 7 Pukey faces, so thank you very much.
Yeah, so I've just put the tier list on there, so we're not going to break it down. We're going to start talking about Chaos Knights very soon, but they have got us up in S tier, which is hilarious because I think that's the first time we've ever been up there. So shove your D for Death Guard tier up, because S for Death Guard apparently they've got T-Suns up there, which I do agree. Yeah, sickness. Spread the sickness. I do think T-Suns can be S tier. I think they are still susceptible to like a single mistake kind of crippling them quite badly.
Pilot skill is still very high on that need.
Now, Emperor's Children being up there, I mean, they got nerfed, but like Emperor's Children just is the most powerful rule in the game to be able to constantly advance, fall back, and do everything. Like, you can't deny that is one of the most powerful rules in the entire game as an army rule. The problem we're gonna see potentially is just they took points hits, they didn't get cuts anyway, so there's gonna be less stuff in there, and we in that matchup, we had quite a good matchup into it, and they've lost points now, and we've not lost points. As Will said, I think before, like, the game around has come down, and we haven't changed. So I think Emperor's Children could almost get undone by Death Guard alone being up there. Because, yeah, I mean...
the Plague Storm PBC build might ruin them as well, I have to say.
Yeah, because they're relying on a lot of tricks with just 2 rhinos, and then they get the guys out and the Noise Marines take the space. With the Death Guard gets first turn, and you just PBC off a Noise Marine squad straight away. Like, yeah, I get what you mean. That's going to do a lot of damage there. But I mean, they've put Chaos Knights in the middle, so I guess we'll get into that in a second. But anything else stand out on there real quickly before we move on?
And Eldar having the drop they've had is got to be mentioned, I have to say.
Yes.
Like, I think it's probably fair. I'm sure there'll still be like people who do well with Eldar, because they just seem to be a faction where it's really skilled players who seem to be able to sort of always find ways to win
find a
with
way.
them. But I also thought Tau might have been a bit low as well. I've got to say, I thought they might have been. I mean, I thought they might have been like top of B, maybe it's even bottom of A, because I played against them in the new rule and they did seem solid. But I don't know. Tau are a bit of a boogeyman for me. I always
Demons being in B confuses me as well. Like Shadow Legion is still just really good,
super strong.
That's easily an A in my opinion. But again,
Yeah.
I don't see how Orcs are up in A still. Like I understand, like a very good Orc player is still a menace, but like especially in the current
Very
meta,
good any
like,
player. Yeah.
It was specifically War. Is it War Horde or something?
Yeah.
They basically said it's that one detachment puts them in A.
Okay.
Everything else isn't there. Because I watched it out in the background. I think the Art of War ones are always a bit weird because you have to remember the context. They're basically talking about like, you know, it's John Lennon versus Richard Siegler with these two factions. They're not talking about Average Joe versus Average Joe.
Sure.
They're talking about one of the best players in the world versus one of the other best players in the world. What can they do with this army into that army? So it's kind of like, I guess you have to take them with a pinch of salt, which again is why Eldar being low is kind of a bit of an unusual one. Maybe the demons thing, when you sort of take that pinch of salt, maybe it makes sense because I guess maybe skilled players do find ways to get round things, but I don't know. It's an interesting one. I also think some things they just do like we're doing now, just because they know that we're going to go, should that really be there? And it gets Reddit hype, and you know what I mean? Like they're playing the game, aren't they, as well? They know how it works. But yeah, so what are we thinking on Chaos Knights then, guys? I mean,
yeah, so let's get into the Chaos Knights then. So obviously we're not. I mean, Will, you might want to talk about it a little more from a faction standpoint because you do play the faction standalone as well. Me and Dave, I think, are going to stick to talking to them about allies because that's all we are really interested in, isn't it, Dave? I don't think we are ever going to run solo knights.
No.
Really? So, I mean, let me just go back to the Triple Guest chat room view. So, I think the main thing here is the decision they've made on the stat lines for knights. Will, do you want to give a quick recap on like what's changed for the War Dog chassis and what's changed for the Big Knight chassis?
they've basically gone down in tough but gain more wound. And the big knights have gone down to toughness 11 and gain 4 wounds, and the little ones have gone down to toughness 9 and gain 2 wounds. If I'm remembering right, the big ones might have gained 6 wounds, or that might just be the tyrant. But yeah, so they've got more wounds, less toughness, which some people think is a nerf, some people think is a side grade. I've even some people argue it might be a buff. It's kind of, without having put it on the table, I'm not sure. The other big change, and this is probably the biggest change, is the War Dog and Carnivore. Carnivore hits on 3s, and the War Dog, the Brigands and the Carnivores both hit on 3s now. Now the Carnivore gets sustained, so arguably you could argue that while you drop a dice, but you gain a dice because of the 6, you end up net even. Obviously, you could spike the dice and even end up in a better position. So the Carnivore's the one where it probably is kind of like arguably net. They've also lost OC, so they've gone from OC8 to OC6, and the little ones, I think the big ones have gone from OC10 to OC8 or
8. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I know there's some points floating around on Discord and Reddit, but I don't know if they're official points that people have got from like watching battle reports on release day and kind of compiled it into a document, or if this is, you know, Chinese whispers that have sort of people believe a fact because they've been sort of said so many times now. I am, without seeing the points, it's hard to judge the strength of the army. The War Dogs seem to have gone down a lot. I mean, the War Dog detachments, they've got a lot more flavour, although some of the rules and names of the rules are just ported from the 9th edition Codex. There's some very lazy rules writing in there, to be honest. Is like, it's one of these things where if you're just going to do that, like, just make it the first Codex if you're just going to literally copy and paste the earlier one. But yeah, I mean, it's...
Also,
I don't know, like...
the degrade now as well.
Yeah.
That's also a thing now.
Oh, they always degrade.
They lose OC now, though.
Oh, yes, right. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. I think on a whole, they've got nerfed quite heavily, unless the points mean you get loads more stuff, which it looks like with the big knights you might do, but with the little ones, I'm not sure. I also... does the execution hit on 2s now?
Yes.
It gets +1 against units below half strength, I think.
Oh, they always had that. It's the most garbage rule in the fucking. So yeah. Like it's not the good.
Pretty bad.
It's not a good data sheet. Yeah, it's not bad in Mortarion's Hammer as an ally, by the way. It actually might be the one that you look at now. I think a Carnivore still has a place, but now it's lost the 8 OC. That was one of its biggest benefits. Like late game, it was like one of the things we could zip across the board and like, just flip an objective, which you can still do with OC6, assuming it's not on like 2 wounds and it becomes like OC3 or OC4. But I still think that the value of knights has dropped a lot. Maybe there is a build now where you can take the big build. I can't remember, is it Tyrannical Court? And you can there's some nice buffs you can put on the big knights and kind of make them each like flavorful and make them quite powerful. But I don't know. It's still probably the War Dog one if you run them solo, because you can get carnivores fighting on death and things like that. Which is, I think, you can even give one carnivore fight first. I think there might be a way to do that as well. I mean, I looked through it and listened to a couple of stuff, but it was all very Like there was nothing that like made me think, oh, I'm gonna like run these. There's nothing that made me excited to go out and buy models or like get stuff off the table. Like it's very much just sort of like, I'm just gonna mainline Death Guard for the foreseeable, I think. But I don't know what you guys picked up. Maybe you've sort of like picked up the stuff that's maybe a bit more kind of focused.
Yeah, so very quickly, thank you so much to Mr. Meds coming in there with the 10 gifted memberships, mate. That is mega, so thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Very much,
massive mega nurgling shake there for you, mate. Again, if you got gifted, you want to make sure to say thank you to Mr. Meds there, or Mrs. Meds, sorry, I don't know. I shouldn't assume. It's just a very male hobby. But thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate it. In terms of the Chaos Knights, so there are some interesting things there. The first one being the toughness drop. Technically, when we look at it, they've actually down 2 toughness because we have contagion. So realistically now, big knights are T10 against us, little knights are T8. They are some huge breakpoints in terms of us fighting against knights. Heavy blight launch drones now wound big knights on 4s in contagion. Yeah. Blight haulers wound little knights on 2s. Melee strength, Death Shroud wound knights on 4s or 3s with lance. Heavy plague weapons again 4s. It's a lot of, even our auto cannon, our predator now wounds little knights on 3s. So there's quite a lot of like impact that has to us for us to be able to deal with knights. So I'm not too worried about our matchup so much. Instead, Entropy Cannon also loves this because now you win big knights on 4s, little knights on 3s. And then little knights, again, the mortar now wounds them on 4s. If you play Taliban, it gets even funnier because then you drop the big knights to T9. Yeah. So now they're Rhino toughness. You drop the baby knights to T7, which is really funny. So, yeah. But I actually think that there is some power in that. It really does depend on the points. If they are nice and cheap, there is something to be said about just having the capacity to put all those holes out there. And it's still, even though they're easier to kill in terms of like toughness value for us, if there is more substantially on the board, you kind of knights have the ability to put you on a clock. It's like, here's the wave of knights, maybe you kill 1.5 and the rest of them crash into you. So there is that worry. Now, when I look at it in terms of allies, I agree with Will that the OC8 on the knight is a bit of a bugger because going down to OC6, it means that at the moment, for example, if you play against Virulent Rectorum or in the Mirror or something, if they stick you an objective with 2 bloat drones on it, you could, even if you can't make the charge, you could just put a carnivore on the point and flip it. The OC6 now, it's not enough to out-OC like the tank spam that you see a lot, or even like, 5-man squads plus literally anything going now. So a 5-man squad on a character, you can't flip that objective. You can neutralize it, but if they've got any form of sticky, it doesn't do anything now.
So also, one thing that's worth throwing in is you're saying that a carnivore, I don't think one turns a big knight on average as long as you've got a CP to re-roll one of the dice somewhere, because it goes from 2s to, because obviously it used to be 2s to 3s, now it's 3s and 3s, and I don't actually, especially with the more wounds in there as well, I actually don't think a carnivore solos a big knight on average dice, because it used to be if you set the CP back to re-roll a hit, a wound, or a damage. I don't think, very rarely did a carnivore not solo a big knight, assuming it was in contagion, because obviously goes straight through. I think now it doesn't, and I think again that's another reason why. I mean, it's not like a big reason, but that was a good reason to take a carnivore as a problem solver for like things like that. Whereas now, I mean, it still one turns a lot of vehicles in the game.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like they're just not as valuable, especially when our data sheets have gotten so much better.
The problem I have with it is mathematically, sustained hits weapon skill 3 is average the same. The problem I have though is not hitting on 2s, just open. Like I don't like relying on 6s to make my maths even out. Because I've had many times when I'll roll my hits and I won't get a single 6. And now I have double the fail state for just getting a hit. I don't care about exploding 6s, I just wanted the thing to hit reliably. Whereas now, I'm kind of hoping I get a 6 to even out the 2 1s and 2s I'm going to get. So I'm not a fan of that, admittedly. I still think it's good, but you are right. 3s and 3s, even with sustained, you're kind of banking on rolling a 6. Now, you could roll triple 6 and then you know, to the bank, sure. But I would much rather just have the weapon skill 2 and just know that like, I'm going to hit this thing pretty damn hard. And like you said, you can keep a CP back because you know you don't realistically need it for the hit roll. You can just save it for the win roll, whereas now, can you? So yeah, they picked up reroll advances, but again, you can't advance and charge, so like you don't really want to be advancing that thing. You want to use force in each move and charge something. Brigands is obviously the second biggest like hit because they were like the two main allies we saw, was the Brigand and the thing. Brigands have lost weapon ballistic skill 2, which again, for aforementioned reason. Thermal, we've all shot it. Every time you shoot a melter gun, it hits on a 3, you miss. Haulers right now.
What range was it before?
There's more. The
as well.
Brigands had quite down to 18.
Yeah, so you have to be closer.
Yeah, and also they've changed the rule as well. It's literally the nearest model, whether it's visible or not.
No, it's not even that. It's not that.
No, it ignores cover. It's not
on a unit on an objective. So even if you stood in front of you, it does nothing.
To be honest, I'll summarise the Brigand now. Just don't take them anymore. Like they've no place in Death Guard at all now. Now we've got buffs to our data sheets. The gap that the Brigand was filling in our index is filled now by our actual data sheets, which are more efficient and better for the points. Brigands, like just don't even think about it. Like other Chaos deities might, other sort of like power armored Chaos factions like World Eaters, whatever, but we don't need them anymore. Like we've got bloat drones, predators are really good.
This little guy, would you pay 50 points more to get a Brigand over a Hauler, which now hits vehicles and monsters on 2s with +1 to wound, same range,
with lethal melters,
lethal hits as well. And you've got a rocket launcher as well, and it can kind of nibble people in melee. Like, yes, it doesn't.
And you're the same toughness.
You are the same toughness now. Your invuln works in melee.
It's got an invuln in melee as well.
You don't bracket as well.
And you're actually better in melee because you've got AP on your melee weapon.
Yeah. And you also get the yes, you don't get the Melter 4, but the Melter 2 is still pretty good. And you get the +1 to hit.
And your melters have got lethal hits.
Yeah, it's 50 points
cheaper. And they've got the smoke keyword.
Yes, they do. It's 50 points cheaper.
Oh, Brigand's got an out of line of sight gun. That's the only thing that's go over it. But like,
no! If only we didn't have something
unless Brigands are like 120 points
out of line of sight gun.
Yeah, Brigands have to make 120 or 130 points for you to consider them, just because it's like at that point they are still a bit undercosted. But even at 140, just don't even look at them. Just like for 100, if you've got 140, try and find the extra 5 points and put a predator in your list. Like
what about a cheap
that would be a better use.
War dog.
So I think that's the more interesting one is the scouting one. I don't mind a scouting war dog depending on the points, but having scout is actually pretty good. I don't mind having a scouting war dog with that.
Now we've got
spin.
Poxwalkers,
Yeah, that's not bad because we can guarantee a scout off with our Poxwalkers or our Nurglings if you're playing Taliban, for example, and it can still make use of like the plus AP and the -1 toughness. So that one I don't mind as much. So I think that could. But I think if you are dead set on taking a war dog with a thermal spear, I think you look more at that guy rather than the Brigand right now.
And he gets +1 to wound. If it's
the Huntsman's still alright
away from your units.
So I think it has the potential to be decent, that one.
Within 6 of the target.
It's the Stalker, that one, I think. I think that's the Stalker. But the Huntsman's also alright because his data sheet.
Sorry, I was talking about the Stalker for the Scout.
Yeah, so Stalker's got the Scout and the Huntsman's the other one is good because he's got reroll wounds against vehicles and monsters.
Yeah, but the Scout's got +1 to wound when you're within 6 of a target.
No, it's when the target shooting's got no other units within 6 of it.
Okay,
Pretty
sure. Okay,
that's it.
if there are no other units from your opponent's army, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
So
it's the most garbage data sheet rule ever. It may as well not be.
It's so
may as well not be a
complicated.
data
is
sheet
that the one
rule,
that got
yeah.
scout?
Yeah, it got.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was the huntsman that got
It's
scout.
such a niche rule that the few times it comes up, you won't even think to check for it. That's how
If
niche
the
it is.
huntsman had got scout, that would have been really
Yes,
good.
then we'd be really talking. I mean, on the bright side, it's also not a character anymore, the Stalker, so you're not just going to give up assassination
True.
super easy and free.
Yeah.
That is something. But now, on a more interesting note, though, let's talk about Big Knights, because Big Knights have come substantially cheaper, like 325, I think, is the A-bomb, upwards from there.
Can't wait to see
Now,
the big knights on the table again.
let's address the big elephant in the room, though. The new kit, the Knight Ruinator, fucking sucks. Holy crap, it is so bad. How do you get a giant flamer, giant siege drill knight with nipsiles and balls it up?
Yep.
Like,
also, don't buy that kit. It's just the same kit with a new sprue with it. Like,
I want to buy the kit. It looks so cool. I love big drills. And then
They should have restyled the entire knight for me. It should have been.
What I mean is, if you already,
I know what you're saying, Will. You're saying that basically you've got 90% of it, right?
yeah, if you've already have a knight, don't buy the new kit. Just 3D printer goes burr, or some creative convert and going through your bits box is what I'm talking about. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Dave.
No. I was pretty much saying what you were. I think you and I were saying the same thing, which is you don't need to buy one of these because it's almost there anyway, apart from picking up the other bits. But like you said, and as Aidan was saying, I mean, I don't know, just like it's really underwhelming as a data sheet.
It has 2 random shot weapons. Both of its weapons are 2d6 shots, completely random. The flamer, that is the size of a rhino, is AP1 when a Land Raider Redeemer's flamers are AP2 with more shots consistently. So why couldn't it just been D6 plus 6 shots like a Land Raider Redeemer would have been, or 2d3 plus 6? Just literally make it a Land Raider Redeemer cannon.
The real reason the flamer is garbage as well, you can't overwatch with Titanic Knights.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Overwatch
It can't overwatch. They could have just give it a rule that says this unit may use the Overwatch regardless of the towering rule. That would have been fine.
Yeah, or it can't overwatch because it's Titanic, so make the flamer better.
Yes, so when you actually shoot, it does something. And then the drill is the most. It is a giant siege drill. This thing should. It has four attacks. 4 attacks. Yeah. It has strength 18 and anti-vehicle and monster 2 up. Who gives a shit? Like,
on 4 attacks, you're likely to drop one of them anyway.
Yeah. God forbid you run into -1 to hit contagion. Now you drop 2.
Yeah. And then great. Now you're relying on your strength 14, but usually what you're going into, you're going to get 3s most likely.
Yeah, like 3s, or if you get the anti-monster 2 up. Ooh.
Yeah, great. But
I mean,
it's 6 damage. If 2 go through, it's pretty good, but you're not killing a Land Raider with 2.
It's just not good. I mean,
so
what are the knights that you think? Because obviously there's lots of videos out there deep diving the knights. I think on a whole, the Chaos Knights, short of like points. Like, if they're all really cheap and all of a sudden it's like 7 big knights and a little knight, it's like, oh my god, okay, they're not great, but like for us, they're not great, but for these points, they're different. But without knowing that, I mean, what are you guys looking at? Because I know you guys have looked at it more from the Allies' point of view. Because you said that, okay,
this guy,
I mean, the Rampage,
yeah, because I think he's going to be dirt cheap when the points settle out, and 26 wounds. Basically, you've got devastating wounds on the charge. You've got sustained on all your weapons, and if you launch that into something with some Death Guard around, like Reaper Chainsword Strike is AP5, Chainsword Sweep is AP3. It's 18 attacks. It hits on 2s. It's strength 9 and it's flat 2, like that. And then you get devastating as well. If you go to the Warp Strike Claw, you get 6 attacks on the strike, sustained, devastating on the charge, hitting on 2, strength 20. With Death Guard nearby, you're -1ing stuff. AP3 to AP4 and damage 8. Like, it's him as a and I can just come through a wall with it as a counter charge to something. If isn't it already like 3? Wasn't it pre Codex?
Like 385, I think.
385, something like that. Yeah, 380.
So
I think that's going to settle down.
With him, he already punches to the sun. Like, it's kind of, I think, it's the phrase I've heard someone else describe him as. We didn't take him before because the issue with him is he trades so badly. Like, he's looking to find another 400-point target, which generally he'll just walk up to and just like brush it aside. But normally he runs in like a 200-point target, brushes it aside, and then another target goes, "Oh right, he's out in the open now, gone." Like, because do you know what I mean? Like, that's the problem with him. He's really bad to trade with because he still doesn't have an input in combat. So he also runs into that thing where, like, runs into Deathwing Knights. Deathwing Knights spike the invuln saves and go, "Oh, you didn't kill anyone. You're dead now." Like,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put him into something like Deathwing Knights. I mean, if I was running it, like where I've ever used him is I've just crashed through a wall and then gone into like a couple of, I don't know, like Lancers or Repulsor Executioners, or like, and just used him to just clean off stuff that I don't care then if he dies in return, because I've now eliminated the thing that was annoying to the rest of my army.
Oh, what I mean is a lot of opponents don't have the thing in their army that justifies it, if that makes sense. Like, often he runs into like a Rhino. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like
I think if you're setting up for that big, like, as Dave has been playing Death Lord's Chosen, I think Dave has found most success on the massive go turn, like the absolute here is everything go at once. And I think the Rampager in that actually is a place because you just stage it the first turn. The turn when you decide to drop anything, you just launch it out, and then it's just kind of a pick your poison. It's like, look, Morty stood there, all the Death Shroud are here, and there's a Rampager there. Kill one, you ain't killing it all, and the next thing's going to crash into you. And if the Rampager is now like 320 points, something like that, 340, whatever, just so much cheaper.
It's that cheap.
That's actually not too bad at that point for it to, even if it does die, because they've still got to chew through 26 wounds with a 5-up invulnerable. Like, that's still not the easiest thing to chew through. And again, if they leave it, even if this thing is bracketed, it still hits on 3s, it's still going to absolutely twat anything it touches. So if this thing survives on 1 wound, it's still going to smash something. So I don't mind the Rampage. Rampage is not my first choice, but I totally see.
No, it isn't mine either. But I was more talking about from our perspective. There were 2 models for me in this.
So to very quickly, Don, he doesn't mean he's charging through a wall. He means he's like setting it up, running through a wall, and then charging something. Then charging. We know you can't charge through walls. Don't worry.
No.
So I think the other one, obviously, we've got to talk about the good old Mr. Blasty himself, the Despoiler, like
Big
double rapid fire battle cannon, Mr. Burt, or you go double Gatling. Like, if he was already like
second child.
Yeah, he was already pretty good at 400 points that he was. You could have fun with it. I'm not saying it was a meta pick, but you could definitely use him and find success. If he comes down now substantially, you don't really care about his toughness profile that much, because the idea was he would pick long angles and just blast something from miles away and kind of keep sort of safe while the rest of your army plays forward. Now, we have the ability to give this knight the usual stuff with -1 toughness, -1 save to make those rapid fire battle cannons hit. We also technically, if you can bring a Defiler, you can also give it ignores cover, because you don't give a Death Guard unit from your army ignore cover. You hit the enemy, and then the enemy unit cannot gain the benefit of cover. So the knight would benefit from that. So now you're looking at, what is it again? Remember, it's 4d6 plus 12?
With both of them, you're in half range, so 36-inch range.
Yeah.
You're 2d6 plus 6 on each gun.
Yeah, so 4d6 plus 12 shots.
Yeah.
With
blast.
With blast. At strength 10.
And it's basically multiple heavy blight launcher drones strapped together.
Yes.
It's strength 10. It's flat 3 damage. Yes, it's not AP2, but it can be if you put them in contagion. And it's flat 3 damage.
And let's be honest, we were shooting this thing before, and even without the ability to strip cover, you would just make tanks take so many saves, they would just die on 3-ups most of the time, or 4-ups. So it's not unlikely to see this thing like just shoot something on weight of dice clean through the thing. So, like, I genuinely think Knight Despoilers in Death Guard, like, actually might be pretty damn good. It all depends on points, as we always say, Will. Like, we need to see points, obviously.
Yeah.
If it's still 400 points, like, probably not. But I don't think it's gonna set the world on fire. I don't think it's gonna be like the most broken thing. I still think Pure Death Guard is probably still just better for synergies. But, like, god damn, that's a lot of shooting firepower.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. They haven't addressed this yet. I think the things that might stand out more than the Forge World Knights, because the Forge World Knights as it stands still toughness 12. They already had an inward in combat.
Yeah.
The Lancer might, I don't know. The Lancer versus the Rampage is an interesting one because it depends on points. but is it the Atropos? The one that's like really good at
the weird
firing
one,
vehicles.
Yeah, Atropos, yeah.
And like turns his like melter gun into like a lightsaber in combat.
Yeah.
He's probably still the best. But again, it's all point dependent. But I think in the same description you guys just gave about the big knight, the executioner, the mini, the mini war dog with his sort of mini like
the auto cannon dog, yeah.
Yeah, I think he might have play for the same reasons, but again, it just feels like. That's what I mean. Like if he's 120 points, okay, I could look at it and I could then look at a defiler, but then at the same time, it just feels like you jump through all these hoops where you could just put the same amount of points into 3 blight haulers. Do you know what I mean? And more stuff, whereas it just feels like it's better.
No,
so I think Chaos. I think Chaos Knights are at a point where to play them as a mono faction, it might be like Emperor's Children where everyone's a bit down on them at the start and everyone's a bit like, oh, not seeing the power, and then 1 or 2 people just sort of like find something or spot something and kind of prove the rest of the world wrong, and then other people jump on the bandwagon and they do rise up, because they've changed so much that like it is all, and all the changes are nerfs, but if those nerfs come with like real points changes, then I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I definitely am. I'm not excited to play him as a mono faction. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Like I think, for example, I'll put it this way. I would imagine most Plague Storm builds beat most Chaos Knight builds.
I can see the reality. Yeah, very quickly for you in chat, who says, he's just saying, maybe don't question, why are we allowed to talk about Night leaks, but we weren't allowed to talk about Death Guard leaks, because these aren't leaks. These are reviewed by Goonhammer, these are articles that are up on the internet, we got them from other videos. Nights are on pre-order right now, that means the review articles are out. These are not leaks anymore at this point. They are in
you can watch Tabletop Titans or whatever, and people are playing these data sheets.
The points are the only thing that hasn't been confirmed. There's leaked points on various places where you find these leaks. Google will sort of bring them and Reddit, I'm sure, but they might be true. Like I say, I don't know if it's people who've watched all the battle reports of Tabletop Titans and kind of looked at the lists and gone, okay, and just made it out, because you can do that. Obviously the lists they do get the points, but there might also just be something that someone's heard or people have guessed something. Like, for example, the balanced data slate, there was leaks, people saying that Overwatch you couldn't reroll hits, and there was a few other things that just didn't materialise. So yeah, you've got to be careful with Discord and Reddit basically, which is why we tend not to put them on the channel. But yeah, so the Chaos Knights we're talking about is just what we know. Like, we have an inkling of what the points might be from what the leaks are, and kind of like some common sense sort of guesses, but we don't actually know. And without knowing, for example, if Carnivores come out and the Carnivores are 90 points, all of a sudden I'm like, oh guys, you need to put 3 Carnivores in every list. Yeah, but like they're not going to be 90 points. Common sense can tell you that.
Can we talk about the A-bomb? I actually think the A-bomb could be good.
Go on.
I like the A-bomb.
Tell us. Go on, pitch him to us here.
So not only is it the coolest looking knight with the big tentacle arm and the big Volkite weapon, so
tail.
This thing, it has 12 flat shots now, which is good. With Dev, at flat 3 damage each. The only problem mainly is it's AP 0, but it's strength 12.
AP
so
0.
We can put AP 1 on it.
Yeah, and the best thing about that is we can deny its biggest weakness, which is 2-up saves. Because even if you have 3-up, if we put them in Contagion, even if they're in cover, they can't get back to a 2-up save, because just a 3-up save can never become a 2-up save. It's a cute little Battle Shock thing, which is it's something like the Battle Shock. But the one thing I find quite funny is at the end of the unit phase, he does the Mortarian thing with the Mortal Wounds.
Might need to go in my DLC list for even more
Mortal
Wounds.
This is what I'm thinking. Like so, if you kind of look at his gun as like a Mortal Wound Fisher, and just try and get like Death Wounds. If you get 2 Death Wounds a time, that's still 6 damage onto like a tank or something like that. And then you put Mortal Wounds on it. And its melee weapon is actually, it has 2 melee weapons because one's extra attacks.
Actually, okay.
So it has 9 attacks at strength 10, so effectively 11 with us. AP 2, effectively 3 with us. Flat 3 damage with sustained hits. And then it's got the little mace tail, which is 3 attacks at strength 8, AP 1, effectively 2 with us, at damage 2. Like, he's been consistently the cheapest knight for the big knights. So if he is still the cheapest knight and he comes down and he's like 320 or something, like, that's not bad. Like, I like that.
Okay.
like just as a sort of like cheap can do a bit of melee, because the thing is the despoiler's great until someone touches it in melee, and then you can't shoot your cannons down because you'll blast and silly rules, and you can't fall back and do anything. So the A bomb has that like electro scourge, so it's like scary in the melee phase. I think if you want like an aggressive death guard, it pushes up, like Deathlord's Chosen for example, who wants to get that mortal wounds in everyone, and then this guy joins in the fun because it's a 9-inch aura from him, and he's a big model, he's got a big base.
I think the spoiler can fall back and shoot, by the way, because he's Titanic.
No, that's gone. That's gone.
Can you not fall back from infantry?
Nope.
Super heavy walker's gone from moving over, just moving.
It's just moving over, yeah. It's just moving over stuff.
No, you can definitely move over infantry still. They ported that back in. I'm sure.
You can't fall back shooting anymore.
Okay.
Right, yeah, that's what it used to be. Yeah,
it used to be like impossible to pin a big knife down. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind. It's like, okay, Battle Shock is a bit of a cute one, but like also like Battle Shocking people, like sometimes it comes relevant to just be like, hey, take a Battle Shock test at 24 inches. Just be like, because what's the time? It's like start of the shooting phase. So you want to turn off someone's AOC? Sure. You want to turn off someone's fight on death? Sure. Like when it comes up, it's gonna come up. Like it's not bad. But yeah, I mean, mainly just walking around with a massive aura of mortal wounds while shooting out a flat 3 damage death gun, while also having like actually genuine, like pretty decent melee. Like, if this guy's cheap, I might pick one up just because also I think he's the coolest looking model.
Yeah, if you want
Aiden, I've got randomly loads of them. You know, it came out in the box at Element Games.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I think that they actually made them in the shop to put in the cabinets, but they just decided to make them as normal ones. So all the like abominant sprues were going. They were like going to throw them in the bin. So I've got like 6 abominant sprues for the weapon and the tail.
I'll take that.
There's no other night on them.
I'll magnetize it. I'll buy a Ruinator because even though it's shit, I'll magnetize it so when it gets buffed and actually becomes good, I can use it.
I've got a box of like random like sprues, just random like weapons on them. I'm sure there's like 3 abominants in there. So there you go.
But I mean, like the -1 toughness is also like not the worst thing because like you shoot over like strength 12 things, now you win them on like 3s. Like, it's not the worst. Like I'm just a sucker for a big like the big mortal woundy pulsing aura because I just think it's funny.
I just don't understand how they didn't just look at that gun and just put 1 or 2 AP on it. Like, and just I don't understand they didn't just glow up the data sheets. I understand that the Carnivore and the Brigand have gone to hitting on 3s. Like, as much as it's like it's a nerf, I also get it. They either had to do that or bring the character War Dog to hit on 2s as well, so it was brought in line. I do get that, but like, it's just such a weird design choice for the army. Like, it's like we're gonna like. Because everything else has kind of been like, you know, we're either going to like keep it the same or make it better. So that, right, we're going to make everything a bit worse. And it's like, right, okay, so like, that's an unusual choice here. Like, maybe it's just going to make sense for the positive. We're going to make everything worse, but you're going to get like way more stuff. Maybe that makes sense. But like, I don't know, like, it's just such a weird design choice for the Codex. Like, it almost feels half-assed, if I'm to be honest. It almost feels like, because a lot of the rules are ported over from the 9th edition Codex as well. Yeah. It's a lot of like, it's not the most innovative of codexes, but I don't know. Like, I'm just weird.
Question for the group: has the Lancer disappeared?
We don't know technically yet.
I think they're going to stay. So the Lancer and stuff. So the Atropos Knights. Oh no, I can't remember what the name of the chassis is called, but the Forge World Knights.
Cerastus.
Yeah.
Cerastus. They're never in the Codex. They're like Forge World.
Okay, right.
So what we're saying is, I think you nipped out the room, Dave. Obviously, Cerastus, as they stand, are the same. So they're still toughness 12, still have the 5 input in combat. Okay. It's going to be interesting to see if the Cerastus datasheet changes at all. Because if they keep the Cerastus datasheet the same, it might be that Cerastus datasheet's porting really well with some of these new detachments. It might actually be that someone... Because some of these new rules, if you put them onto those chassis, maybe there is something there. Do you know what I mean? Because they've still got the Demon Allies. Do you know what I mean? They can still use Beast and Nurgle, all that kind of stuff. So maybe there's going to be a list there for someone who's really invested in Chaos Knights, you know, like how we're invested in Death Guard, and that's what their army is. And it doesn't matter how good or bad they are going to play Chaos Knights and they don't care. Like, I'm sure there's someone out there who's going to find something, but it's definitely a nerf from where they are. And I think I understand maybe I don't know. I don't understand, but do understand. I understand because maybe it's people moan about knights shouldn't be in the game because there's such a skew. So maybe they're trying to like tone that skew back a bit to kind of bring them more in line. But I don't know. It's like it just feels a bit. I don't know. It to me it feels like Games Workshop don't know what they're trying to do with knights, and they're just kind of trying stuff to see if something sticks. It kind of feels a little bit like that. If I'm sort of like trying to summarize.
I think they have potential. I think we need to see it. Points are going to make a lot of it. Also, another point for the Abominant here. Every other big knight has a rule that affects allied war dogs, so you're paying points for a rule you don't get to use as an ally. Despoiler doesn't have that. Sorry, Abominant doesn't have that issue, though. He doesn't have any buffing ability for his war dog, so... yeah.
So to round off on Chaos Knights then, for you two, question is, how do you... So I think I know the answer to this, but as Death Guard, how do you feel playing into Chaos Knights now?
Playing into them, so playing against them,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Points. It still depends on points. If they are super cheap, that they can spam bodies and rush me down, that's a little scary. But in terms of killing them, like the toughness 12 problem that Death Guard has, feels a lot more approachable. So I don't mind that. Mainly, I'll say this right now. I'm just glad because I know it's probably not the truth, but to me, I like the big knights over the war dogs. I'm hoping that is how it's seen in the game overall, because I am so sick of killing 14 war dogs every game. Death to war dogs, long live big knights. So that's my opinion of facing them. In terms of allying them, I'm actually interested potentially in the A-bomb, the Despoiler. I can see the angle for the Rampage. I still think carnivores have play, all depending on points. But I still don't think it's like a case of I'd never take knights. I think you're struggling right now because Death Guard are undercosted on some of the units, so it's hard to make an argument for why take X when I have Y already. But I don't think like taking a knight in your list is making it substantially worse. That's my personal opinion anyway. So go on, Will.
I think I echo a lot of what we've already what you said there and what we've already sort of kind of said. I think for me they're definitely much easier to play into. Not just because of the damage, but because of the OC. So we played the team tournament recently, and my Knight's game was looking really good until just one little thing happened. A Carnivore lived on 2 wounds when mathematically probably shouldn't have done an average dice, but it's a dice game. And that Carnivore living with his 8 OC, and then obviously hitting back and hit me on 3s. He managed to just like flip so much primary and pick up stuff. I failed some saves. The reason I'm giving this story is it was that OC8 was a problem because I couldn't just like put a demon engine on, even 2 demon engines this part. So I think the biggest benefit to playing in them is at OC6 now, because all of a sudden, 2 demon engines, we've tied on it, which I think is massive. I think that's playing in them going to be the biggest thing. The toughness, of course, is good, but I think the OC coming down is actually what's going to make that matchup swing more in our favour than it had previously. Okay. So yeah, that's my take on that one, I think.
Nice. Cool, guys. Thanks.
Nice. Thank you, Mr. Dan Rempelzo, for the $2 Canadian super chat. It says most Volkite weapons thematically don't have AP. True, they do not. They're supposed to be like superheated beams, but I do find it a bit weird something that big doesn't at least like do a little something to a guard's flak jacket or an orc's literal t-shirt. Does feel a little weird. But no, I totally get it. I think someone asked in the chat as well, what do you think, what detachments do you think Death Guard best matches into Chaos Knights? COC, just 5-up crits, just like with lethal is just going to like absolutely make Knights fall over. VV as well is going to be really good against Knights. You just walk up to them with your full rerolls, everything. Plague Ring, shoot 2 War Dogs to death, shoot a big Knight to death, then go punch another one to death. I think Mortarian's Hammer just has to be a little more careful of getting ran down if the opponent goes very heavy aggro and gets first turn. But again, we bring Poxwalkers. If they take certain detachments, they don't have Knights of Shade, so they can't move through Poxwalkers as long as you position them properly so that the Knight can't finish the move on top of them. So you can still screen them out in that way. I don't think we're going to struggle too much into Chaos Knights, but it is going to depend on how many chassis they can get for the points. Points are massive in this discussion.
Yes.
I actually think Mortarian's Hammer might be more favourite this. I think it depends on Mortarian's Hammer build. This is where I say the Hell Boots come back in. If you have 3 Hell Boots in it, all of a sudden it's very favourable, I think. I The one I think is interesting, coming back to Knights, Virulent Vectorum is now a really good stats check. Like, Virulent Vectorum into, like, say, let's talk about teams examples, because people bring Chaos Knights to run the stat check. Virulent Vectorum is now a way better stats check, because it's, like, basically toughness 13. Whereas, like, do you know what I mean? You kind of... And a lot of the Chaos Knights guns are still strength 12. All of a sudden, Virulent Vectorum might have a really good game in the Knights.
Do you mean Taliban? Demon one?
Oh, Taliban. Yeah. Like, but Taliban's actually probably weirdly favourable into it. Because they're wounding all the Knights on 5s a lot of the time. I mean, obviously, a Rampage still does damage, but then I don't know, like, if a Great Unclean One just bosses a few 4+ saves and just pulls a Rampage down in response. I don't know. I think the Knights matchup's probably
making a big Knight T9 is a comical thing I need to see happen. Just be like, hey, same toughness as my Rhino.
Yeah, I think the Knights matchup's flipped from amber to green. Is my honest take on it. I think it's still a stats check and it can still go sideways. We've all played stat check armies where they spike a few plus invuns that they shouldn't have done, or you have a slightly under average turn. You know, when you look at the wound on 5s, they can still be able to do that to you. But I think the chances of that happening have reduced massively. So I think Death Guards...
I still dislike Knights existing as an army, because it's still a stat check. It's just that the numbers have changed what they're checking you on, and thankfully for Death Guard, they've become a little easier to check those stats, but still don't like it, really, I'll be honest with you, like, as an army.
I think the interesting one is going to be, do Imperial Knights go the same, or is this going to be like the World Eaters Death Guard thing, where, like... Chaos Knights are a bit shit, and like
super weird to see them not come out together, because they've always historically like came out.
Should have dropped them together.
But they specifically put out a statement saying that they're coming out later this year. So whether that's going through like some actual like proper rewrites, because maybe it's like, okay, maybe this just isn't very good. We'd have to see.
It might be that they're getting a new kit. It might be if they've delayed it, it might be more like production line problems, or they've realised that like they've sped the schedule up so much that they might need to slow it down and push some things to the back.
Yeah, I get what you mean. People in the chat saying I'd be ecstatic if they gave Imperial Knights the same treatment. I'm so tired of that matchup. I do agree. I don't want the army to go away. There are armies that everyone's always going to like. No doubt there's someone out there who fucking hates Death Guard, Stephen. But like no one's army should ever be like removed from the game. So I do want them to stay. I just think this is probably more manageable for a lot more armies now at T11. I just feel like you're not going to get stat checked as hard. But again, I could be wrong. The points could come out and it could be 300 points for every big knight, 120 points for every war dog. And now you've been ran down by 6 big knights and like 4 war dogs still there. It's like, cool, this is fun. So we'll have to see.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. And, a quick thank you to Intermittent Arachnid, great name, for becoming a Plague Marine.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's another new codex in the game. We are getting towards the end of them all now. All of our allies options are now done. Is that every Chaos faction now? There is no more Chaos factions. We're all good.
As long as demons stay where they are, then
they've said that. Yeah, so we have the full range of Chaos for 10th edition. Interesting stuff. I'd like to see. I might steal an abominant off you at some point, Will, to give it a whirl. But I think right now, I think we're all the same mindset. Like, I think we probably just stick with our pure Death Guard right now.
I think pure Death Guard is still so strong, and so Will, you said it earlier. Any gaps that we had are filled now, and I think, I at the moment, unless I particularly build a list to put a knight into, I don't feel the need to put any allies into any of my lists so far.
I
think if like Dave said, I think if you want to put a knight in and you go, right, I've got a knight, and then you build the list around it, I think you can come up with something that's very functional, but I don't think it's optimal compared to what we could take within our own book at the moment.
I will say though, it's quite funny because you see the argument that GW makes new models overpowered to sell them. Please tell that to the rules design team for the Ruinator, because that thing sure as hell wasn't printed to move.
What it's called the Ruinator because it's destroying their bottom line.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. It's drilling out the foundations of their financial success.
Profit margin. Yeah,
that
exactly.
makes more sense. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I would have gone and slammed 100 bookies down on that bad boy. It had a giant drill, giant flamer, and it had nip siles. I was sold. And they let me down. I will never forgive you, GW. Hashtag justice for Ruinator. Justice for Drill Boy. But yeah, so as we sort of wrap up here tonight, is there anything else you guys want to quickly mention or sort of go over? Anything going on?
Really.
We have Leeds, obviously.
Super excited for Leeds.
Yeah.
We're
all going to be at Leeds.
Everyone's got tickets, right?
Yeah, I got my ticket.
Do you know what? I don't know if I've got a ticket. Like, I've been trying to sort this out today. No, I want to admit, I'm definitely going. If I haven't got one, I'll buy one. So this is. I'm going to slag off UKTC a little bit just for a second here.
Ooh.
Their ticket refund policy is pretty shit. Like, I thought I bought a Leeds one, but because they come out like 6 months ago, I normally buy them on the day of release once I know I'm going to, but I can't find the proof of purchase. I'm worried it's going to sell out, and I would normally. Sometimes I just buy a second one, email them if I got two, go, okay, we'll refund one of them, no problem. But they won't refund the second ticket. That's not what UKTC do. I'll just end up with 2 tickets to the event. So it's annoying that I can't find the confirmation. I've emailed them, but the guy's out of office, and I'm like, I don't want it to sell out in the meantime. So I'm like, part of me is like panic thinking I just buy a second one. But like, I really wish I wish they had a policy where if you have 2 tickets bought with the same person, at least refund one of them. Whereas I said, it's just going to be like a twice as expensive event. So that's a slight gripe at UKTC. I will definitely be at Leeds. I just don't know if I already bought my ticket or not because I can't remember.
So I think it's more for anyone watching that is a member of the community or is like all 3 of us will be there. Which I think is the first event all 3 of us have been at in a very long time, right?
Yeah, and we'll try and get like a catch up between rounds on some shorts for anyone that is not there, so they can sort of keep up with us as we go along. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I always like Leeds. Leeds is sometimes a bit calmer due to like WTC happening quite close, or like it always feels like almost anyone can take Leeds, which is kind of a fun atmosphere to have. But I mean, not anymore because Josh Roberts will be going in, so he's gonna fucking win it. Necrons, all that crazy fucking bullshit Ultramarine thing he's been running.
QC's there. QC's
there as well, so QC's gonna be a big challenge along the way. But it's always gonna be fun, and we're just gonna try and do our best, no doubt. New terrain, new missions. I can't wait for one of us to lose our victory to a challenger card and spend 30 minutes ranting. I kind of hope it's Will. Will has quite famously good rants. If it happens to me, I want it to happen against Andy on Necrons so I can combine it into a challenger Necron rant.
Yeah. If it happens against Necrons, then I'll be really happy. But like, the other question is are challenge cards going to be tournamentally? Are they going to be used?
I think challenger cards are. Twists definitely ain't. Twists definitely
are out. Yeah.
Yeah, no twists.
Leeds is 6th of July, I think it is for the person in chat.
5th,
it is.
6th of July, something like that.
Yeah.
It's 5th, 6th of July.
Yeah, 6th of July.
So, I think the challenger cards, they shouldn't be in the game, but now they are in. They're just going to flip so many matchups. Like your games is going to be so. Like, so I played a game against Tau against one of someone from Hive, basically, a guy called Dave. He's a really good player, and I think he might be joining Stonehammer. You Hive. But
mate, as much as I love Hive's dead, mate. I accept that.
It's become a Clydesville gaming club, I know, rather than a competitive team. But
shame.
But and the bottom of turn, like I made so many mistakes in the game, like just doing, I don't know, me and Plague Storm has got a weird thing. On paper I get really excited whenever I play it. It's me and BBCs just don't. Like one time I'm too cagey with them, this time I was too aggressive with them. I just can't work it out. I'll get there eventually. But so we worked it out, like I had a massive deficit on turn 3, and we were like, oh, right, okay, so flip the cards, and we're like, is there even a world I could win? And we're pretty much like, no, there isn't. Like every hoop I can jump through. And then Dave said, oh, well, we are playing the new missions. What about a challenger card? Flip the challenger card, and it was like, if we were playing challenger cards from the start, because it would have been a bit unfair to do it on the last turn, I would have won, because it was like the easiest thing. It was like, do you have a unit in your deployment zone? Yeah,
do you have any models?
Yeah. Do you have a middle name? Were you born? Yeah. Were you born like within the 12 month period of a standard year? Not on a
6 VP.
Yeah, it's like so many. They're just so easy, and it was like I would have won by a point with this like bullshit card.
Can you read
And I
this
was like,
card?
it doesn't count. It was just like, yeah, it was like,
show your opponent this card. It just says I get 6 VP. Like,
yeah, it's like, do you have 10 digits on your hands when added together?
I'm not.
You got the guy who's lost a finger in a work accident. He's like,
Yeah,
no!
some guy works in a wood shop. He's like, no.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one and see how they affect the scene. I'm a little bit dubious that they are in the game, but
they're stupid. Like it's just sort of like the biggest feel bad is going to be like a really skilled player outskilling their opponent, being like every turn getting 5 points, like to 6 points, because 6 points is a thing, like ahead of them, which obviously at the end of the game would be like a 20-point differential. And then the person, every time he flips a challenger card, oh, okay, I can do this thing. I'll get 5 points for having a model on my home field. It's like okay.
Teams feels like you have to beat someone by 50 plus 15 now, because they're just gonna get 5 challenger cards. Be like, 15 VP. So you have to keep someone's score to under 35 so you can 20-0 them, which is insane.
I've already heard apparently there's people deliberately building lists because apparently there's going to be like the classic, like the famous, because the sort of grey area with Manny Chima while the submarine where he was moving off objectives to sort of like go for a win path where they'd only actually try and like beat people in the final round to sort of when it was done on like battle points before it was random pairings. Arguably it's a competitive game. There's nothing wrong with that. But the reason is this is arguing to bring it back to that. It's like, so I could score this point and I'll go a point ahead of you. Or I could not score this point and be a point behind you. Well, I'll be a point behind you and I'll get a challenger card next turn and get 5 points off that. Like, it's just going to like
you pull
create
the
this
god
really
strats. Don't forget there's the god stratagem, which is a unit can fall back, advance, shoot, and charge. It's just like, what the fuck is that?
It's just
imagine Dave's Death Shroud just being like, cool, I'm gonna fall back, flame that skull to death, recharge that skull over there, kill it, and then fuck off into the sky.
And then fuck off into space and then come back.
It's just so. I mean, like I say, it's just so. I mean, we're in the game. We're going to be playing it, and for every game that we lose with challenger cards, I'm sure we'll win one to sort of balance it out. But is it the mechanic that the game needed? I don't think it was.
It's going to be funny, I think. So
it'll be fun. It'll be funny.
But yeah. We'll report back on it.
Yeah, but for now, I think that we're going to sort of close up here. So, if anyone would like to pick up a pack of challenger cards, though, where can they do that, Will? If you've got any, I don't know.
Well, there was some Element games until recently. There probably won't be there now because, like I say, it is. I don't know. Rocking horse crap is probably the best way to describe them. But if you are looking to benefit the hobby, obviously Death Guard's still there. If you are really excited about Chaos Knights and you want to prove us wrong by buying all the War Dogs, Element Games in the UK is an affiliate with us. All you do is we have an affiliate link, you log in, spend your money normally, it doesn't cost you any more, get a little kickback, just keeps the lights on, helps us keep doing what we're doing. But also, obviously there's big changes afoot. If you want to keep up with these changes, maybe you get a bit of help, there's coaching out there. Where could it be? Tell me some organisations, Dave.
I mean, there are many organisations out there, but one of the friendliest is Vanguard Tactics. You can definitely go and check those guys out. You can get one-to-one coaching with Aiden. Aiden and I both play for Vanguard Tactics. I believe the link is in the description of the video down below. And if you just want to watch lots of good battle reports and other such things, head on over to their channel. There's loads available historically, as well as about 2 or 3 uploaded weekly. So check those guys out. Really good bunch. And like I said, we wouldn't play for them otherwise. So very good. And I think, if Aiden, on top of learning those things, I wanted to know how far my new contagion range is, or is my opponent afflicted? Is there someone who can help us get some tools to support that?
You can check out Sword Tight Games. They have some thematic gaming aids that can maybe help you out in your gaming sessions. You can also pick up some fancy new looking dice inside the Baron of Dice with our very own little disgusting resilient dice. So you can pick them up. We're actually thinking of doing a UK order again. Yep. So if you are a member in the chat who wants to get some Baron of Dice in the UK and you're worried you don't want to pay double because of the shipping cost, let us know in the Discord. And we will do what we did last time, where we'll do a big shipment over, saves everyone on shipping, and then we just send them out to use individually. Once they get here, you just pay the local postage, which is like £4 or something. It's a bit better than paying 28 quid on postage, that's for sure.
Go to the merchandise section in the Discord, and in there I've put up a poll to see how many people want to do it. It's live for 2 more days or 3 days, and I've spoken to Baron and Dice, and they will do a ship to us in one go, which is, like Aidan said, that then would enable us to do that. It's not something we're going to do regularly, but if a group of people want it, then we'll do another order.
Yeah, for sure. And we have what we got? We got Aidan teach me how to play. Okay, step 1 done. Drop the defilers from your list, and then we'll start talking. Okay. But yeah, obviously, as the new UKTC map comes out, we'll probably have an episode to talk about that. But yeah, stay tuned, obviously, for upcoming content. We've got a couple of things planned, and we have, obviously, the usual streams. We'll have a Plague Surgery on Sunday as well. I think that's about everything, right, guys?
Yeah,
I'm just going to quickly plug the next Stormhammer GT, which is on the 19th and 20th of July. Aidan alluded to before, he might be there with his Taliban summoners list. Obviously, I'll be there too in the event. Maybe Dave will come down for one of them, but tickets are available on Element Games. You get your lunch included, and it's a really good chance to come down, see the fabled Element Games in the UK, which is one of the biggest retailers, massive gaming centre, massive store, and of course you get to meet me and Aidan, and hopefully Dave, if Dave decides to come and join us. So yeah, those are available in the event ticket section of Element Games now. I just wanted to highlight that just while we're pushing these things. So yeah. Sorry to hijack with a bit of self-promotion.
No, it's all good. Last 2 things. We're going to go, if you want to rep the channel by wanting some merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, things like that, please go to drpstore.com, and you can get your hands on all those kind of good things and just rep the channel out and about at events or just hanging out with friends, etc. And the final one that's really important is like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, very, very important to like, comment, and subscribe. Because if you like, comment, and subscribe, you help us grow as a channel, which is the main goal, really. It's just keep going, keep spreading the love of Death Guard. Because I'll tell you what, now we're on top right now, but if we get nerfed and we're at the bottom, we're still gonna be here. We ain't going anywhere. We're still gonna be here. This is not a temporary meta chasing channel. We're here from the bottom to the top, and from the top to the bottom, no matter what happens. So for now, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you all have the good rest of your night, and we will catch you all on the next episode. Take care for now. We will see you all soon. Stay rotten, and bye-bye. See you later.
Bye.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, subscribe.
Just gonna kiss these nurglings.
Oh, okay. Nice. I'll let that go in. There you go. Goodbye, everybody.
The blackened sky we rise, wings of death, clouds of flies. The crag will burn, the pure will fall. Mortarian's wrath will consume them all. Also knowing pride crumbled in the dust. Your emperor's light can't stop the rust. The seas erupt by your final breath. Now kneel before the reaper's death. I am the plague, I am the rot. The end of all that you forgot. You fought for hope, you fought for lies. Now your shining world slowly dies. From the skies I bring despair. Your warrior shook on poisoned air. My cracking flames, hear the cries. Mortarian's plague, watch its glory dies. The reaper falls to a runner's sword. In death your soldiers are reborn. There's no salvation, no last stand. My crown is buried by my hand. Blue and gold, once proud, once bright, now swallowed whole by endless night. I am decay, and I will feast. Your chapter falls beneath my feet. Gleaming suns will face my wrath. In every breath, your lungs turn black. Your noble heart, I turn to ash in my shadow. Your hopes will crack. I am the plague, I am the rot. The end of all that you forgot. You fought for hope, you fought for lies. Now your shining world slowly dies. on poisoned air. The cracking flames, hear the cries. Mortarius blade, watch his glory dies. The angel falls, your runner's sword. In death, your soldiers are reborn. There's no salvation, no last stand. McCrack is buried by my hand. McCrack was the jewel of the stars. Now lies broken, tainted with my scars. I am your doom, your final breath. Mortaria comes, delivering death. From the skies I bring despair. Your warriors choke on poisoned air. McCrack in flames, hear the cries. Mortarius blade, watch his glory die.